Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar. I'm Stefano. For those of you who don't know me yet, if you watched one of our many previous webinars, you might recognize me. Yeah, it's always me. I'm always here. Yeah, it's always me. So before starting today's topic, I would just like to wait just a quick minute to see if you can see and hear me just fine. You can use the chat I think you can find it on the right side of your screen. Feel free to chat with me here. Just give me a quick feedback if you can see and hear me. All right, let's see. I apologize if I'm looking the other way, but my screen is right there, yeah. So let's see. Okay, both video and audio perfect. Okay, I see. Good morning from Philly, from Budapest, from Belgium, from the Netherlands, from Hot Springs, from the UK. I see we have a lot of native English speakers, so I just apologize in advance if I make any blatant mistakes. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try my best, I swear. Okay, read you loud and clear. Oh, it's good. Okay, that's perfect. Okay. I think we can wait just a few more seconds so that everyone can get inside, and then we can start. Okay. Hello from Germany, from Slovenia, from France, from Switzerland. Okay, I believe we can get started now. So of course today, as you know, just like the webinar title says, today we're going to be looking at the blog section of Website X5. So I'm going to be showing you how to add a blog to your project, how to configure new entries, how to add new entries, how to add any kind of content to your blog entries. Then we're going to be taking a quick look at the SEO aspect of the blog, how to link certain articles around your website, maybe how to add comments, how to add ratings. Let's say everything about the blog we're going to be taking a quick look at today. By the way, also, as I'm speaking, I will be making a few pauses every now and then just to check the chat. So if you have any question, if you have any doubt, if maybe anything I said wasn't very clear to you, feel free to write it in the chat. So I will stop every few minutes to see if you have any question, and I will try and answer them the best way I can. So we don't just move on in case you maybe missed the part or if I wasn't very clear when I was explaining that. Okay, I think we can get started then. I'm going to disappear in a moment. You're going to be seeing my software Oh, no sound. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Can you confirm that you can hear me now? Is the audio back? Can you hear me now? Okay, okay. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, let's just start over. So as I was saying before, we've picked this topic. I'm sorry, this project specifically because it already has a blog inside of it. It's already configured, and this template is called Tourister. It's one of the templates you can find when you boot up the software, so you can get started with the same project as I'm using right now. If you maybe you want to follow this a little better. So yeah, we can just start by showing you the preview of the software. So you can see what the blog looks like. This is the blog page, as I was saying before, when you were not hearing me. As I said, this is the main blog page, which is created automatically by the software. You can see that right here, we configured it to have like a grid view of all the articles currently inside the blog. So we have like this grid right here. And then on the right side, you have this sidebar, which always gives you the chance of like having quick links to maybe the most recent articles, or maybe to reach those blog entries which belong to a certain category. We're going to be looking at categories in a second. So yeah, this is what like the main blog page looks like. And if I just open up any article, you see that we get to the actual entry page. We have the title. We have like the author's name. If you want to set an author to the blog entry, you have the category, the date. You have like a generic image you can pick for the article, and then you have the actual article. You can see right here that we also enabled the ratings and comments. We're going to be looking at how to achieve this in a second. So this is just to give you a general idea of what you're getting out of the box when you start a new project with this template. So first of all, let's start with step number 1, settings, and then blog. So this is the main section that you're going to be looking at when working with your blog. You can see that it's divided into 2 sections. The post list, which is of course the main part. This is where you're going to be adding your blog entries, where you're going to be configuring them. You can edit them, add content, add images, stuff like that. And as I can see that somebody was talking about adding a RSS feed. Yes, that can also be done right here. You can see that you have one easy box to click here, which makes the software automatically create an RSS feed with the blog contents. So yeah, generating the RSS feed from the blog, it's just as easy as clicking on a single box right here. So right now we have this list which contains the blog entries which were already added to our template, and then we have the side blog section. The side blog section, we're going to be taking a look at this in a while. This is essentially the part that you can configure to be your sidebar on the blog section. So going back to the post list, let's just boot up one of these entries to see what it looks like. So one entry looks a little bit like this. As you can see, it is divided in 4 bigger sections. The first one called general, you have, of course, the most generic part of a blog entry. You have the title, which is, of course, the name of the entry that is going to be displayed on the website. You have the author, you have the category, you have tags. You can add the tags to your blog entry, which can then be used to filter out what kind of blog entries you want to see when browsing the website. The cover image, of course, the publication date, which has actually many uses. I'm going to be talking about this in a while, and the caption, which is a sort of a short description of the blog. This is like a short description that is going to be displayed on the main blog page, just to give you a generic idea of what this blog entry is going to be about. Then you have the content section, which is probably the biggest part of the blog entry, which allows you to insert text. You can insert images, you can insert links. This is where your blog entry comes to life. This is where you insert all of the data that you want to show in your blog entry. You can see right here that we have this sample text. Of course, this doesn't really mean anything, but it gives you like a good idea of what this part looks like. Then we have the resources section, which can be used for adding a quick video or audio to your blog entry. We have a slideshow, which is used to create one single big slideshow for your blog entry. Since the project we started today is about travels. For example, in this case, the slideshow could be used if you want to display photos or stuff like that for a specific trip you made. So you make one blog entry per each trip, and each of those are going to have their own slideshow. And then, of course, you have the sources section in case maybe you're taking parts of your material from other sources, and of course you need to mention them inside your blog entry. Like if I'm taking a picture from somebody else's blog, I can mention their blog right here. We also have an option which allows you to mark this post as do not allow comments on this post. So even if you're enabling the possibility of leaving comments and ratings in your blog, you can select like a specific post and say, I do not want to have any comments on this post. And then, of course, we have the SEO section, which can be used to configure what the URL looks like. Then you can configure the title tag of the page, which by default is going to be the same as the blog entry title. But let's just say you wanna specify a different title tag. You can do so here. And then, of course, you have the description and keywords tags, which are like present on every HTML page, which are used, of course, for indexing, for providing more data to internet crawlers once they visit your website, so that your page can become more easily searchable on Google engine, on Bing engine, like on every search engine. This is like the main part you're going to be looking at when optimizing the SEO part of your blog entry. So yeah, let's talk about the general part first. So the title, but I don't think I really need to explain much about the title part. It's the title of the blog entry, and that's all there is to it. Talking about the author and the category section instead, this is a little different. I just want to explain to you how this particular field works, because you can see that I can type in it, but I can also like select it like a drop-down window. So how does this work? Let's suppose I want to add a new author, and I call it just like my name. Okay. So it's Stefano, and we have this category right here. Essentially, the first time you're going to be creating a blog entry, you're probably going to be typing in the name of the author and the category. The drop-down window will actually fill itself based on what author and what categories you added inside other blog entries. So let's say I just added Stefano right here. If I close this one up and I open a second blog article, you can see that if I click right here, Stefano is already a choice now, because the software knows that you already use this author's name inside a different blog entry. So this is how you fill in the author and category fields. You can just write the name of the category, you can write the name of the author, and then when you swap to a different blog article, you are still going to be finding the same options you inserted before, just a click away, right here in the drop-down window. Of course, when there are no more blog entries with this author name specified, the option is going to disappear from the drop-down as well. So this is how this particular kind of field works. The tag field, just like I said before, is used for adding tags to your blog entry. So once you go to the website, on the sidebar, you're going to be getting a small box with many of the tags you used. Let's say I want to add the tag ocean to this trip, because this trip I made was close to an ocean, but instead I made another trip and I went to the mountains, so I want to add mountains as a tag. I get these two tags on the website, so if I click on ocean, the software is only going to be showing me the blog entries which are about trips to the ocean. If I click on mountain, the same happens for mountain, so it's like just like the way the tag works. The cover, just like the title, I don't think I need to say much because it's just like the main image of the blog entry, and same goes for the short description. The publication date is actually a little more interesting because the publication date is not only used like to determine when the blog article has been published, but you can also like change the date to a later date, later than today. And if you do this and you decide to upload your website online, this blog entry will actually not be visible. The blog entry will automatically become visible once the date you've set has been reached. So let's say you want to publish 3 blog entries today, because maybe you don't have the time to do so during the week, but you still want your blog entries to be published during weekdays. You can just configure a later date here, and the blog entry will automatically appear on the website once that date is reached. So this has this kind of application, which I believe is can be considered very, very useful if you're actively working on a blog. Then in the content section, like I said before, you get your text. You can add more text and just say, like I can just write here sample text. You can add other stuff too, like for example, an image. Just could be adding whatever image, let's say this one. Okay, you can see that it appears in my blog entry. So if I click OK and I move over to the preview, I'm just going to check, I don't remember which article that is, symbol number 1. Okay, if I click right here, you see that my author has been set now as Stefano, which wasn't like this before. The image I picked just appeared. Also the text I added just appeared. And this is basically all you have to do to edit and change the content of any blog entry. Let's move over to the resources section right here. So as I said, you have the sources. Like if I click on add, it adds one source automatically. We can use the sample one, it's perfectly fine. And we can also add the slideshow right here. I can just select like a few images like this, and then click OK. And if I move back to the preview right now, let's see the result. Okay, you can see that this slideshow appeared at the bottom of my blog entry. So I can now navigate the pictures I've added. I mean, it's just 3 pictures, so there's not much to see right now, but it's just to make you understand where the slideshow is going to be appearing once you add the images. And you can see that this small section also appeared at the bottom, which says post sources, which is website X5 in this case, since it's the one that was added automatically. But you can of course add how many sources you want. I can add another one. I can just write test, I can write whatever. The result is going to be exactly the same. There we go. Of course, the links are also clickable in case you wanna visit the sources you linked. Well, as you can see, just the editing of the blog entry is actually very, very easy. It's all made very easy by the software. The software already provides a few fields which are very specific in telling you what you have to add, and the content part just contains the entirety of the blog entry. It's very, very easy to understand where to place every kind of content you want to add to your entry. So the resources page, yeah, we saw that too. Moving on to the SEO tab, like you can see right here, The URL, like mentioned before, was already configured automatically by the software based on the blog entry title. The tag title the same. If I want to edit, I just have to click right here and I can change it however I wish. The description tag, is going to be adding the description, like a small description of the page, which is very likely that is going to be about the same as the caption. And then the keywords tag, again, for search engine purposes only. The keywords here in the description do not really affect anything inside the software or the project itself. It's only there for the search engine part of the website. So I can see that one of the questions we just got is, can text be wrapped around images? Of course it can. I'm just going to be showing you how to do that right now. So of course the image can be configured right there. And then you can see that I can also, just a moment. You can see that the text can also wrap around, can also be wrapped around the image itself. On however you wish. You can go below, you can go on the left side. If I just move the image over to the other side, this is all you need to see, that you can configure the text to move on the sides of the image as well. You have plenty of options right here. I'm sure that if you want to test this out and you already own the software, it's going to be very easy for you to understand how to achieve the same result as well. I can also see that you're asking best practices when adding keywords. Well, it's very important that the keywords actually match the content of what your blog entry is talking about. There's really not much else to say about keywords. Just make sure that they match the content of the page. You can also search online. There's many guides you can find that talk specifically about what keywords can be used best, what are the best words to use. Maybe there are some words which are known to work better than others, but this is like more entirely different topic than what we're going to be looking at today. So my best advice is to actually search for this piece of information online. I'm sure you can find plenty of guides which tell you what keywords are best used when talking about travel in this case, but you can find examples for whatever your blog is going to be about. So yeah, moving on to the side blocks, just for a quick look. As I mentioned before, here you can configure what is going to be displayed in the sidebar of the website. So if I click preview right here, let's take a look at the sidebar one more time. You get this section right here. And these are configured right here. So you can see that we have, like, this one is in Italian, but it actually says latest articles. You can configure the maximum number as well. Let's just see the difference right here. Okay, you can see now the sample articles are 4 and they were 3 before. Then you can also add, let's take a look at what you can add here. You can add like monthly posts, which of course is going to be displaying only the latest articles belonging to the current month. You can add images, you can add Facebook links, you can add custom codes. Right here we've added a few images, we've added a category filter. So yeah, everything you need, like, to give your user a chance to navigate the blog better, more easily, in a more user-friendly way. But you can also add content, like, of course, images, or like AdSense from Google, like we saw before. So like advertisement and custom code, which basically means you can add whatever you want to the blog sidebar. So yeah, I think we can move on to the next part of the blog, which is actually not found in step number 1, but we can move straight to step number 3, because step number 2 doesn't really have much to do with blogging. On the contrary, step number 3 is very important. it's very important to understand that even if you do not add any blog entry to your project, let's say you're starting a brand new project, the blog is always inside the project. It's not like you can completely remove it. It's always going to be there. Maybe you can see, maybe you can see these pages which reference the blog, because the blog only appears as soon as you create your first blog entry. If you don't do that, uh, there will never be any kind of link, any kind of functionality from the blog added to your website automatically, even though the blog is present virtually inside any project. So if you've added at least one blog entry like we did before, in step 3, you're going to be getting this section called special pages, which show the main page and the article page. So these two pages right here cannot be configured like most other normal pages if you're used to the normal pages in Website X5, meaning that if I open any page right here, you can see that I get like this grid view that allows me to drag objects inside to configure what my page should look like. This is not the case for special pages. Let's take a look, for example, at the main page. If I double click here, you can see that we get this configuration window instead. We do not have any grid view like normal pages. Right here, you have the chance of configuring what you want your blog entries to look like on the main page of the blog. So I'm talking about this one right here. So you can see that right now every blog article looks like this. There's a main cover image, then right below is the title, then the category, and then the short description. All of this can be configured in this section right here. You can see that the basic card setting right now is cover at the top, then the title, and then the content at the bottom. You also have other choices, like you can get the cover on the left, you can get like the cover at the bottom. You can see right here, you get like a small preview of what it's going to be looking like. Let's just launch the preview real quick. You can see that it changes in real time. Let's switch it back to like it was before. Okay. And then you can also configure like how many cards per row you want. Let's just switch this down to 2. How many rows per pages, which we don't really have many blog entries right now, so I can't really show you what this looks like. But if you have a blog with many blog entries, the change is immediately clear. Then you have the card height, which is essentially how much space the entirety of the card can take, and the card, so how much distance between one card and the other. If I set this one to 25, you should not see that the cards per row became just 2, and the cards space between one another has increased. Okay, you can see that right here. You can see that we had 3 blog entries per row, now we only have 2, and we have this space right here, which is just as large as we configure under cards margin, under the cards margin field right here. Then we have the cover size in percentage, which essentially means how much of these 400 pixels we have configured here the image is going to take up. So if I, for example, write 70 here, you should see that our image now instantly becomes bigger. It's now bigger than before. It occupies more space in percentage than it did before. You also have its margin, so it's like the distance between the image and the content, and the content margin, which is on the opposite side, the space between each element right here. Then you have the background, the cover. You can fit the image to the card size. You can also have like some mouse over effect. You can configure the title font, the size. You can configure the description. You can configure a button if you want to display a button that says read all, or if not, you can just click on the blog entry and it's going to be working just the same. So as you can see, you can also choose what details to show. Maybe I don't want a category to show, I just want the author to show. So I click right here like this. Maybe I want to show the date. I'm just going to be reducing the cover a little bit so you can see this better. And if I click on preview, you can immediately see that the preview changed as well. You can also configure the blog to show side blocks. Maybe you don't want side blocks at all. You can configure the highlighted articles, which essentially means that a certain number of articles, like the most recent ones, are going to be displayed in a slightly different way. I'm going to be showing this to you right now. Let's say first articles are highlighted with cards. If I click on preview, you should see now that the first article is going to be looking differently from the others. You can see that it takes more space. It has an entire row dedicated to it. This is what we mean by highlighted articles. You can also see, just like I configured before, that you have this mouse over effect when I hover on the image right now. Okay, let me just see if you have any question on this. Does having a written blog, meaning text, make it more or less visible to search engines than, say, using a simple audio or video blog? I would say it's much better to have a written blog with some audio and video content too than no text content at all, because text is very, very important on every website. Text is probably the main thing search engines are basing their search when they decide how to index your website, and also in order for the search engines to understand what your page is about. In many cases, this can also be done through audio and video, but text is very, very important too. I would say probably the most important part of the website when search engines are concerned. If I have a bilingual website, can I show the blog articles also in different languages? Well, considering Website X5, when we're talking about bilingual website, we actually mean creating an entirely different project. So let's say like a copy of your main project, you're going to have to translate blog entries as well. So you don't unfortunately have any way to like get a automatic page created in a different language. You have, just like you would when you're creating a different language for your website, you have to create a new project, maybe duplicate the original one, and then change the text for every blog entry. This is the only way to get your blog translated as well. Then I also said, is there a way to publish on the blog without using the software? Unfortunately, no. You always have to use Website X5 if you want to add new entries to your blog. The only thing you can do with your blog without the software is moderation. So if you're building the blog and then you need to moderate maybe a comment because you allowed comments on your website at a later time, that you can do without using the software itself. You can do that directly from the website's control panel online. So, okay, we just finished with the main page. Let's move on to the article page instead. So of course, the main page is used to configure what the entries look like in the main blog page. But what if you want to customize each article page a little bit more? You just click there and we get a whole new set of options right here. Just like before, you have the chance of changing what the blog entry is going to be looking like. Like again, you have the cover at the top, then the title, then the content. But you can also have the title at the top and then the content with no image, or maybe the title first, then the cover, then the content. It's like the selection is about the same as before. You have more or less the same options, but this is referring specifically to the article pages themselves. You have fit to page, maximum height, again for the cover image. If you want the image to cover a certain size, you can decide what this size should be. Again, you can show side blocks on the article page, because just like we saw before, you can hide side blocks for the main page, but still display them onto article pages, or you can show and hide the side blocks for the article pages too. You can also take advantage of the add this service if you want to add this kind of buttons, like buttons for for Facebook, share button for Twitter. If you want to allow your users to share your blog articles with different social networks, all you need is an add this account, which you can register directly on the add this website. And then you also have the possibility of enabling Google AMP, which is, for those who don't know, if you enable this option right here, this tells, it's a little hard to explain. Let's see, when you visit a certain page from your mobile phone, you're going to see the page exactly how the web designer decided to structure it. But if you enable the AMP technology, the website might also notify your smartphone, like tell you that you can see this page in a more like with less it's very difficult to explain. It's the AMP technology is used mainly on blogs, because blogs may contain a lot of different content. It can contain videos, it can contain images, but not at any time this is like this is okay for you. Maybe you're using the mobile phone to check the article and you want to focus on the article's content only without all the other side content. If your page is AMP enabled, you can enable this kind of view on your smartphone, and the page will like reconfigure itself to only show the content of the blog entry itself. It will remove all of that content which is deemed not very useful for reading the blog article, essentially making the page more lightweight, easier to read. So this is very, very useful when you're navigating a blog from the smartphone, because when you're browsing a blog from your computer, it's usually okay to have a little decoration every now and then. It makes the page look better. But when you're browsing a blog from your smartphone, you usually don't want all that clutter. All you want is be able to read the article easily. And this is exactly what the AMP technology does. And then you also have the comments section right here, which you can either enable or leave disabled. This option allows your users to post comments or ratings. You can choose if you want both comments and ratings or just one of those onto your blog entries. So let's say I want my users to comment on the trip I've made and the blog entry I've published. I just have to go here and enable this option right here. Also, in order to avoid potential spam or maybe hostile comments, you can also configure your comments to only show after admin approval. This essentially means that your users can leave the comment on your website at any time, but the comment will not be displayed until you go to your website page into the administration section and you decide that the comment can be shown on the blog page. This is especially very, very helpful if you plan on having a lot of user activity on your website. Maybe your users need to interact with your blog entries a lot, and you want to make sure that they cannot publish any harmful comment, any hateful comment. So like moderation is always very, very important when we're talking about the blog. Of course, you have other options right here, which are very basic, like the style of the stars for the rating. You can arrange comments in columns. You can show the abuse button so other users can report comments if they judge them as abusive. Maybe they contain insults and stuff like that. You can enable the CAPTCHA anti-spam filter again to avoid potential automated spam. And then you can also configure these comments to either end up inside a file on your hosting space, or if you're using a database, you can also store all of the comments inside the database, which is the option I'm going with right now, because we're going to be uploading this blog onto one of our own Website X5 hosting spaces, which of course offer a database as well. So we're going to be using the database in this case. Let's just see. I'm sorry about the AMP page right here. It's actually a very complex functionality to explain. It's not very easy to help you understand what the AMP looks like without actually seeing it. And since we're on the computer, I cannot actually show you what an AMP page looks like. I hope I made it clear enough. Let's say it's just a lightweight version of the blog entry page. So let's see if you have any questions on this. Can I put resources, audio, video in the place of one within the article, or are they always placed at the end? As far as audio, video, and slideshow are concerned, they have a dedicated place on the blog entry. But as we saw before, you can also add images in the middle of your blog text anywhere you want. So even though audio, video, and slideshow have their own section, images can be added anywhere. Also, keep in mind that if you are used to working with codes, which with HTML codes, you can also add codes in your blog entry. So you can actually also add videos and stuff like that inside the blog entry with code if you know how to do that. Okay. So I believe we're done with this part as well. And now I want to show you one quick thing, which is basically how to make your blog interact with the rest of your website. So let's say I'm on this page and I'm just going to show you the home page first. Let's say this is our home page and I have like this slideshow right here with this button which says show more. I'm going to be showing you how to do this with the content slider object, but just keep in mind that this works with any object which allows links inside of it. And I could do this with the text object as well. So if I open up the content slider, which you can use to configure buttons as well, you can see that if I click right here on the link option, you have a specific section here which says blog. So anywhere you can place a link, you can place a link to your blog, which could either be a link to the blog's own page, or you can even link a specific article page directly. So let's see what we have here. So we have this text right here, and I want this text, maybe the word Nostrum right here, to take me to one specific blog entry. I just insert link right here. I click on blog, then I click on show the selected article page, and I select the first article, and then I click OK. You can see that the text turned into a link. So if I go to the preview right now, I will be able to click right here. Then I straight up end on my blog entry page. Very, very easy. Again, this can be done anywhere you can insert a link on your page. Let's just go back one quick second to the blog section right here, because I actually wanted to show you how the side blocks work, but I believe I didn't do that yet. So yeah, I said you have the latest articles here, then you have the images right here and the category. So since our articles are already configured to have specific categories inside, let's just say, for example, I click on this category right here. You can see the display of the blog entries has changed in real time. Now I'm only seeing those blog entries which are categorized under another sample category. If I click on sample category instead, the articles change again, and I can always go back to all categories right here. And I'm going to be getting the exact same display of articles I had at the very beginning. Okay, so now we took a look at how to configure blog entries, how to add a blog entry to your blog, where to see it, how to configure the blog page. We've taken a look at the fact that you can add comments and ratings. You can add buttons to share the blog entry. So the last thing we're going to be taking a look at today is the actual blog which is published online. So I got the page right here. I already uploaded this project before. You should see the online page right now. This is like the actual live website. So you can see that we still have the blog section, which looks exactly like we configured it when we were back into our project. And now right here, we have the chance of adding the comments and the ratings, which is something that we could not do in the preview because the possibility of leaving comments and ratings cannot be done directly inside the software preview, but you need to upload the project online first in order to be able to test this part out. So you can see that we also have like a couple reviews, a couple comments left already. If I just click on leave a review right here, you can see that I get this small panel where I can add my name, website name, my email. I can rate the blog entry, and I can leave my message. And once I do this, the comment is not going to be published immediately because, as you remember, inside the software, we actually configured that the admin needs to approve the comment before it gets published. So in order to do that, you just move onto the admin section of your website, which I already have right here. You can visit the admin section of your project at any time by writing down the URL of your website plus the admin word right after it. So if I click on it right here, you can see that this link takes me to my admin page. In order to log into your admin page, this is very important in case you don't know that. To access the admin page for your project, you actually have to use the administrator credentials that you can find in step 1 under settings, then access management, and then you have like this default admin user configure right here, but you can create new ones as well. Every user you create, which is classified as an administrator, is going to get access to the admin section of your website. So once I'm here, I get the blog section right here. I have a small like window right here, which tells me about the most recent comments which were left onto my blog. If I move here, you can see that I can filter my blog entries by category, by articles. But moving back to the blog section in general, you can see that now I have the 2 comments that somebody left me, which was actually my colleague, of course. And you have the chance of either disapproving a comment, or you can straight up delete it. This is a little different because if the comment is deleted, it's just going to disappear. If the comment was disapproved, it's not going to disappear from your control panel. So let's say you want to keep a history of comments you disapproved as well. You're not going to be straight up deleting them. You're just going to disapprove them to keep them stored inside of your website. So let's just see if this part is clear enough. Let's see. I can see a question. Can we share a blog with Instagram? Well, you can share the link to your blog with Instagram. Yes, you can do that. I don't think add this as the Instagram share option. I'm not sure though. You should check with add this directly. But even if add this doesn't have the option, if you just take your article link and you place it onto Instagram, it should work as well. You can just share your blog entry on Instagram as well. You can see I have another question, which just a moment, because it refers to a previous question. So about putting the resources, audio, video, or presentations, you were referring to the resources area within the article. Yes, as I mentioned before, the audio, video, and presentation, which are part of the resources section. I'm going to be showing this again, just briefly. So yeah, this part right here. All that you configure in here, you cannot choose where it gets placed. The stuff you configure here, it has their own dedicated section inside the blog entry. So the slideshow will always be after the content. The sources will always be at the bottom of your blog entry. There is no way to place this stuff in a different place on the article. The only thing you can decide where to place is what you write inside the content section, not the resources one. So are you recording this and will it be posted? Yes, just like most of our previous webinars, you can find this video, you can watch it again if you maybe missed some part, if you want to just go over a specific topic again. As soon as the webinar ends, you can find the recording of it on our YouTube channel. It's going to always be available there for you to rewatch if you need that. So how to approve comments? Well, actually, I can't really show you right now how to approve comments for the simple fact that the comments we added were already approved. But it's very, very easy when the blog entry still needs to be approved. Instead of the disapprove option right here, you're going to be seeing the hand with a thumb sticking up. Which is essentially the way to approve comments. So if I were to disapprove a comment right here, the comment would then disappear from the page again, and this button will turn into the upside thumb up, into the thumbs up icon, and you can approve it again. It works no different than it does right here. Let's see. So I see a question which says how to create a zone with a password. Unfortunately, since today we're only going to be looking at the blog section, we are not going to be talking about how to create a private section on the website. But I think if we don't already have a webinar posted onto our official YouTube channel, which is specific about this, I'm sure we can work something out and we can maybe make another webinar which is going to be specifically about locking certain areas of your project behind password. Okay, so I believe this should be about it. I'm just going to be moving back to the software. Yeah, I think I've shown you all that I've had to show you about the blog. I hope it was clear enough. I'm just going to be moving back to me right now. So let's just do that. Okay, you should see me again now. So yeah, I think that's about it for today. I hope I gave you like a generic idea of how the blog, all of the functionalities you can find inside the blog work. In case you have any question, even after the webinar is over, and maybe even if you decide to watch the webinar again, you're still missing a certain information. Maybe I wasn't so clear when talking about a specific matter. Just keep in mind that you can always reach me and my colleagues via phone or via our official help center website, which we are always using to offer support to you. And you can also write us an email if you have any outstanding questions. So I believe for today, this is going to be all. I thank you for joining me today into this webinar. Of course, I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any other questions, I'll see you on the phone, on the Help Center, or via email. Thank you for joining me today and have a good day.